From the ground, the people of Earth could not see the sky. The alien warships covered it like a black ocean. Their massive engines hummed like thunder, shaking the air. Cities had already burned in the first week. Entire fleets had been destroyed in orbit. The enemy believed the fight was over, but Commander Alina Torres was still standing. She stood at the center of Atlas Command Station, a huge orbital base that floated above the remains of the Pacific Defense Line. Her uniform was torn at the shoulder. There was blood on her cheek. Her short black hair was messy and her voice was tired but steady. Around her, the control room glowed with blue and red lights. Every screen showed the same thing. Enemy ships everywhere. Status? She asked quietly. Enemy fleet in attack formation, said Lieutenant Kai Mercer, a young man with quick hands and nervous eyes. We have 43 ships left. They have 812. Torres nodded once. No fear, no hesitation. Good, we'll make it count. The ultimatum, the sound of the alarm stopped suddenly. The room grew silent. A deep voice rolled through every speaker like the growl of a storm. Humans will kneel. The voice came from General Vrek Thun, leader of the Zareth Dominion. His face filled every screen, tall, scaled, and proud. His eyes glowed gold and his armor shimmered like a blade. Your defenses are broken. Your fleets are dust. Your world belongs to us. Kneel and we will spare your lives. Resist and Earth will burn. Around the room, some soldiers lowered their heads. Others clenched their fists. Fear was everywhere, but Torres stepped forward. She looked straight at the screen. You kneel first, she said. Her voice was calm. Not loud, not shaking, just calm. It cut through the fear like a knife through smoke. The alien general blinked slowly. For the first time, he did not speak. He simply ended the transmission. The alarm returned. Enemy ships began to move. The Plan Kai ran to her side. Commander, we can't win a straight fight. They'll crush us in minutes. I know, she replied. That's why we won't fight straight. On the table, a map of Earth's orbit appeared. Red dots showed the enemy ships. Blue dots, the few human ships that remained. Torres moved her hand over the display. There are still the Atlas beams, she said. The reactors on the old orbital stations. If we link them together, we can power one last shot. Kai stared. But that would burn them out. We'd lose the stations forever. She met his eyes. We either lose stations or lose Earth. Which do you prefer? He swallowed. Right. All across the station, officers began working. Old systems woke from sleep. Warning lights flashed. The hum of energy grew louder. Outside, the small human fleet began to move, falling back slowly, making it look like they were retreating. The aliens took the bait. They think we're weak, Torres said quietly. Good. Let them. Rising tension in space, the battle began. The alien ships moved like a dark tide, smooth and endless. Their plasma cannons burned through space, sending waves of fire at the human ships. The human fleet twisted between the blasts, losing ships but drawing the enemy closer to Earth's orbit. 3 ships down, a voice shouted. Keep formation, Torres ordered. They have to believe we're running. Kai watched the enemy lines tighten. They're almost in position, Commander. Almost, she replied. Inside the station, power surged into the Atlas beams. These were huge old weapons built long before Torres was born. For decades they'd been silent and too costly to use. But tonight they were humanity's last hope. Atlas beams at 70%, an engineer reported. Sweat ran down her forehead. We can't push much more. Yes, you can, Torres said. We're not stopping now. The enemy general far away aboard the massive flagship of the Zareth Dominion, General Vrek Thun watched the battle with cold amusement. Pathetic, he said. They scatter like insects, his officers laughed. To them this was already won. They had burned 100 worlds. No one had ever stood against them. But then something caught the general's eye. The human fleet was not running wildly. They moved with purpose, not precise, like pieces in a game. His smile faded. Wait, he said. Why are they? Before he could finish, the warning lights on his ship flashed red. The trap springs, Atlas beams online. Kai shouted. Torres raised her hand. Fire. A moment of silence. Then the darkness of space lit up. From hidden orbital platforms, long beams of pure white energy exploded outward. They sliced through the alien fleet like knives through paper. The first row of ships disintegrated before they could react. The second row broke apart seconds later. In the control room, cheers erupted. Direct hit! Torres didn't cheer. "Keep firing," she said. Wave after wave of energy lashed out. The alien formation collapsed. Ships that had looked untouchable were now burning. For the first time, the invaders were not laughing. The boarding plan. The flagship of the enemy fleet was hit hardest. Its shields flickered. Fire spread across its hull. Kai turned to Torres, eyes wide. "Their shields are down." "Then we finish this," she said. A boarding pod waited in the launch bay. Small, fast, and armed. Torres strapped on her armor and grabbed her pulse rifle. Kai followed, hands shaking but determined. "You don't have to come," she told him. "Yes, I do," he replied. "Someone has to keep the tech running." Minutes later, the pod shot through the chaos of battle. Alien ships spun and burned around them. They hit the enemy flagship with a loud clang and burned through its hull. Inside, the corridors were dark and filled with smoke. The air smelled like metal and fire. Alien soldiers roared as they charged. Torres moved like a shadow, fast and precise. Her team followed close behind. This was not a battle for victory. It was a battle for a message. The showdown. They reached the command bridge. The doors opened with a hiss. General Thun stood at the center, tall and proud, his golden eyes burning with rage. "You are bold," he said. "But this is the end." Torres stepped forward. She aimed her rifle but did not fire. "You said humans would kneel," she said. "Say it again." He laughed, a deep, cruel sound. "You have won nothing. We will rebuild. We will return. You will kneel before me." She shook her head. "No, you kneel first." Behind her, Kai activated the control device. The Atlas beams locked directly on the enemy flagship. All around them, alien officers froze. Thun's smile vanished. "You wouldn't." Torres took one step closer. "I would." The alien general slowly, painfully lowered himself to his knees. For the first time in his life, he knelt, not because of mercy, but because humanity had forced him. Resolution. Outside, the last shots of the Atlas beams destroyed the remaining alien ships. The human fleet, broken but alive, circled the burning flagship. Messages poured in from Earth and the colonies. People who had been silent for weeks were now shouting with joy. "We're still here. Earth stands. We don't kneel." On the bridge of the enemy flagship, Commander Alina Torres stood over the kneeling alien general. She didn't smile. She just spoke quietly into the communicator. "This is Commander Torres. The invasion is over." Cheers echoed across every human channel. People cried. Some laughed. Some just whispered, "We're free." Aftermath hours later, as the sun rose over the blue curve of Earth, Torres stood at the viewing deck of Atlas Station. Kai came to stand beside her. He was tired, bruised, but smiling. "You really made him kneel," he said. Torres crossed her arms. "He thought we'd give up. He doesn't know humans." She watched the sunrise for a long moment. The war was not over. There would be more battles. But humanity had proved something tonight, something no empire could erase. Humans do not kneel, and anyone who tries to make them ends up on their knees instead.